Diary of a sociopathic mother-in-law next door. Entry. Today's date is Monday the 28th of July 2025. It's been roughly, losing track of time, 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks since the last confrontation I had with the Husk, where she ended up saying those 3 horrible, cruel, calloused things, blaming her own daughter for persuading her to move here, as if it wasn't even, her will, of her own free will. Then she twisted the knife by saying stepdad never wanted to live here, and she had to admit that she never told us that in real time, which is lies by omission, which is a form of coercion and manipulation. And then she said that her own daughter was making me treat her like this, i.e. standing up to her cruelty. So that was it 4 weeks ago? Anyway, so hot off the press, the Beacon has been away on a tall ship with one of our best friends, a couple of our best friends, and she's been crew on the tall ship, sailing it around the south coast, from the east coast to the west coast via the south coast. She's done a section of that journey, and she's been crewing on the ship. She's had an amazing time, and she's needs a break, even though it's work, but it's proper team building work and proper experience, and she needs to escape, a bit of escapism. So she comes back, she's feeling refreshed, and she just wants to. The Husk has done nothing in these 3 or 4 weeks, nothing to try and repair the damage that she's caused by saying those things, because she's never had a conversation with her own daughter. She knows, or she's got a good idea that I've told her daughter. Of course I have. What she said. And she's had no conversation with her. She sent her 2 texts saying, free tonight if you want to come over and chat. But I think I've said this, she's not telling her what it's about. She's not even putting an olive branch out there, look, I know there's been another situation and heated exchange with your husband. Is there any chance I can talk to you about it and maybe apologise? She knows she said something wrong. She knows she's got to apologise. But no, she doesn't do any of that. She just sends a text. Do you want to come over for a chat? No, you come over to ours, Husk. You come over to our territory and you do the begging and the grovelling, because that's the way apologies work. You don't go and seek an apology. Hiya, I've come for my apology. No. The apologist comes to you. She doesn't understand any of this because she's fucked up in the head. She really is. Got a mental disease. So, no, she hasn't done any of that. And quite frankly, the Beacon is of the opinion that why does she want to go over there, especially without me, because she's obviously going to find herself in a position where her mother's going to lie and twist what I've said, and certainly try and get out of taking responsibility for what she said, and she'll probably lie about what she said, and I'm not there to give my side of the story. That's why she wants her over there, so she can manipulate her without taking responsibility and fully apologising. So the Beacon's opinion is, why the hell do I want to go over there and do that? And quite frankly, you had an argument with my husband. That's your problem. Deal with it. I'm not coming to deal with this. It's not my problem. Obviously, it's affected her, what her mother said, but that's affecting her. It's affecting her mindset, and it's affecting her, her motivation to try and actually fix it this time round after a fucking 1,000 revolutions of the abuse cycle. She's now losing hope, because that's all the abuse cycle is. It ends with whatever the official term is, reconciliation, and then a bit of calm, and then the victim has hope that this will be the end of it. She's lost hope. I think she has actually lost hope. So anyway, that's the way it's been for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And quite frankly, 2 pathetic texts like a child. Do you want to come over? She can't. What she can't do, she can't be transparent in her text. If you were being transparent, you would say what I just said there before. Look, it's been a heated argument with your husband. I've said some things which I regret. Can I please apologise for them, please? That's being fully transparent. And the receiver of that text would think, yeah, you're damn right, you've got some apology to do. And they might be more open to give you the opportunity. But it's not. There's no transparency. It's like a child's text. Doesn't know how to broach any of this. And one of the reasons, I believe, is because she wants to see how the land lies first. She wants to know what I've told her, what I've told the Beacon. She wants to know what my version of events is, because she's not going to admit that she's done anything wrong. So she wants to know how the land lies before she takes any ownership. If she can lie and manipulate and say, no, I didn't say that, he's twisted me words, or no, that's not what I meant. If she can get her daughter to submit to those types of manipulation tactics, then she doesn't have to take full responsibility for the horrible, cruel, callous things she said. So that's why there's no transparency. It's like disclosure in a legal case. You disclose everything that's on the table, everything, before you go into the courtroom. And then everybody is going into the courtroom with full awareness of what the other people's evidence and facts are and their side of the story. So you go in with full transparency, full disclosure, and obviously it's why the legal system is set up like that. So you can't be gaslit, and you can't have the other side produce some magic evidence that you weren't aware that existed. So life is the same. That's how life should be. Get your cards on the table. What's your side of the story? But she wouldn't. What she'd do is she'd get the Beacon over to her house and say, and probably say something along the lines of, what did Mark tell you? She'd have to get her. Sorry, what did the bad man tell you? She'd get her to tell her side of the story first, so she can counteract the bits that she's not willing to take responsibility for. Or, you never know, the Beacon side of the story, as you heard from me, it might not be that bad. So don't disclose anything you don't have to. Wait to hear what they know, and then if there's any of the really bad stuff has been omitted, you're getting away with it. That's what she's doing. because there's no way she's going to say, look, I said these things, I'm really sorry, in case the beacon says, well, what did you say? And then she tells her the truth, and then the beacon says, that's disgusting, and she's disclosed it for no reason. She's a lying cheat. In other words, this is how people are in life. It's how she is, and she can't cope because she's now getting pushback. I've covered this. So anyway, today, never seen the ATM at the house other than a fleeting visit for 5 minutes a couple of times. I've never seen him at the property since I made her hand the keys in. I don't know what she's told him. But anyway, I bet she hasn't told him about those 3 things. I bet she hasn't told him that. Or the true version of that story. So anyway, I've never seen the ATM for 3 or 4 weeks. Now, I don't know if I said this, but there was an incident prior to that 3 or 4 weeks ago that he was parked. The ATM was parked outside my next door neighbour's house on the other side of the road. And my next door neighbour felt he was so fed up with this car being constantly there. He texted us and said, do you know whose car is that? Because it's really in my way. I'm struggling to get on and off my drive without just having to do multiple manoeuvres or whatever. It's parked inconveniently anyway, without any consideration for my neighbour. So I told him to move the car, just by text. Tell him to move his car. No apology, no. Like we said, Beacon sent the text saying, please can you move the car? It's in John's way. No apology. So we're getting the grief off our neighbour, which is totally fine. I agree with my neighbour's approach. I knew it was parked stupidly, just for the general flow of the traffic. It's parked on the other side of the road, and the Husks is on the opposite side of the road, and it creates a really bad bottleneck. And this is anyway, no apology from the Husk. Moves the car, and I'm like, so we're getting grief off our neighbour because of their retardation. So anyway, so today I noticed the Husk and the ATM return. She's been at his, or she's been with him all weekend, not at her own lair, for 4 days, 4 nights or something, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, maybe 3 nights. So anyway, the pair of them turn up, walk up the drive, and must have been in the house for, I'm going to say 10 minutes. I've got a pretty good grasp of time, even though I'm not, actually clocking it at the time. 10 minutes. But then I noticed out the front he's parked his car yet again where it's inconvenient for my neighbour. And my neighbour, I've just been having a conversation with him and apologising to him about the car incident since it happened. It was the first time I'd seen him say, oh, I'm really sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. No hard feelings. We're on really, really good terms. He shouldn't have to text us. So anyway, I've just had a conversation with him and told him a little bit about the problems we're having and apologised for the car situation. And literally 10 minutes later, this car's back. And I'm thinking, you couldn't make this up. Why is he still doing it? Now, it's parked in a slightly different position, but it's still inconvenient. These two houses, mine and my neighbour's, it's a small country village, and the road's narrow. The houses are really old. The driveways aren't designed for modern parking and modern, cars and stuff. The road's quite narrow. Our driveway is really, really tight. The entrance to it is right on the roadside, so you really have to swing and use the whole width of the road to get in. So anybody parked on the other side of the road creates a significant inconvenience. But all he needs to do is just park where the Husk's parked, on the other side of the road. So it's not blocking anybody. And it's in front of our house on the path. So there's our house and then a path and the road. There's no front garden. So anyway, that's where everybody parks when anybody visits our house. They park in front of the Husk. But for some reason that fucking numpty parks in a total retarded place. So anyway, I've noticed where he's parked. And I said to the beacon, right, I'm going to tell him to shift his car. And she didn't want us to rock the boat. But I was saying, but this is affecting our neighbour. It's inconvenient. And the beacon will say, I'm sure he'll be going soon. Don't. Just keep calm and don't do it, man. It's not worth it. He'll be gone soon. But it's eating away at us. And hiya. It's eating away at us, and it's the timing as well, because we've just had that conversation with a neighbour. He's been in my house having a cuppa, and he's going to see that car and he's going to think, oh, I'm sure he'll not be there long, because if nothing else, the bad man will have a word with him. Anyway, I lost my cool and I went over. The door was open in the lane and I just went, Duns, shift your car, man. And I'm like, I'm not holding back anymore. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot, man. You've already been asked to move your car from there. It's inconvenient to a neighbour. Like, what's fucking wrong with you? And then he started lipping his back chat. Now I know I'm treating him without any respect. He's in my property. He's on my property. You're a guest here. Treat the host with respect. When you've already been asked not to park there, don't fucking park there again. Otherwise you get spoken to like this. And arguing back. And, you know, if I went to somebody's house and if I parked somewhere stupid, if they spoke to us like that, there's two things I would either do. I would either apologise profusely because I've already been asked and I'm a fucking idiot, or if I didn't like the way he was speaking to us, I'd get out of his house and leave and say I'm not being fucking spoken to like that. Sorry for swearing. It's just going to come out on this one, whichever way it needs to. So you get up and leave. I'm not being spoken to like that. But no, he starts back chatting us. Can you imagine being back chatted to in your own home by an unwanted guest? Imagine that. Imagine what it would do to your boiling point, to your blood pressure. So I said, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? You're a fucking idiot. And he went, takes one to know one. And are you what? So at this point, I'm on the other side of the fence. He's out the house. He's out there. He's making his way to leave. So I'm on the other side of the fence. So I dash onto the driveway. And I'm thinking, who does he think he's speaking to? You go to somebody's house, you're on your best behaviour. This is what you're taught as a kid. I was just so ignorant. So I start recording. It come to us. Record this fucking conversation, how it goes down. So anyway, I said, what's your problem? Yeah, I mean, it wasn't pretty. It was two blokes with their egos out. He's standing right in my face and I won't let him pass, like in the cut down the side of my garage. What's your problem? What I'm trying to get at is, why can you not do the right thing? Anyway, they go on, get lost. Walking down the driveway, I said, well, you're such an idiot. You've got no awareness at all, have you? I said, if you were 20 years younger, I'd fucking rip your head off. Because nobody would take this. If it wasn't an old person, 74, if it wasn't an old person, it would have gotten into potentially into some sort of physical mess. I'm not saying me, that's how I am. What I'm saying is, if you just think about it, I'm nearly 50, right? If two 50-year-old men, one's completely taking the piss, and he's on his property, and he's calling him an idiot, and he's already been asked, the amicable things have already been done, and he's not taking any notice. And now when he's there, he just gives you back chat and calls you an idiot. What would that other person do on his own property? Where his own family live, his own wife and child? And this absolute retard is treating him like this. If you don't like it here, mate, get lost. But you speak to me like that, what would happen under typical circumstances? You'd give him a smack. It's like... And that's what I meant by that. Never had a fight in my adult life, but I'm not going to be taken like a total mug and completely taken for a ride. So anyway, there was some more ego exchanges, and I'm saying you still have parked inconveniently from your neighbour. And he tried to argue that he hadn't. And I'm like, why do you not, and the Husk is there, why do you not, where does your other daughter park, Husk? When she comes, she parks in front of you. I don't know where she parks, you liar. Everybody parks in front of you. You see people out. You know the place to park is in front of you. But this is what the ATM said was, and I knew this. I'm right about everything so far, in terms of when I eventually get what's going on inside the head comes out of the mouth. I'm right. Everything I've guessed so far, not guessed, everything I've figured out has been right. I said to him, why are you parked over there? And he said, so I don't park in front of your house. And I knew this. I knew it was disguised as some sort of weird respect for us. But fuck everybody else. But it's not any respect out of us. You park where the most convenient place to park is. It's not inconvenient to park in front of my house where the Husk is parked. It's where everybody parks. It's the best place to park. It's not inconvenient for anybody. But he disguised it as some sort of convenience for me, respect for us. And I've said that, I knew that's what it was all about. So anyway, he went away and went back in, followed the Husk. I said, what's wrong with you? Why can you not tell him where to park? You know, you should know, you live here. You should know that that's where everyone parks. I don't know. If she just won't take any responsibility, I said, I know why you don't tell him, because you're scared. You're so shit scared to tell him that he's wrong about anything. Or just say, look, can you just do something different to what you're doing, please? She's so shit scared to do anything like that. Fear that he's going to leave you. And she laughed at us as I was stupid. I think, yeah, well, you tell me, why do you never, ever, ever give him any feedback? Why do you let him trample all over our feelings? Give him keys to our property, let him park anywhere, sharing private business with him, because you're terrified of saying no to him. So anyway, I said to her, what have you done? What have you done to fix? Now bear in mind, I've recorded this. I said, what have you done to fix your relationship with your daughter in the 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, 3.5? I said, you've done nothing. Nothing whatsoever. I sent her 3 texts. I said, yeah, that's what a child does. You know, I give her all the feedback. I said, you've done nothing, man. You haven't even told her what you want to talk about. You haven't made any effort whatsoever. You just sent us. There's not even 3 texts, 2 texts. Because one of those texts was just inviting her over because your other daughter was there. That wasn't an invite to sort things out. That was an invite to try and sweep it under the carpet. Test the water and maybe everything's fine. I'm getting away with it. So I said that you've done nothing. You've made no effort whatsoever. But this is when she gets really angry, like our temperature, our temperament changes. I'm really hitting a sore spot when I say you've done nothing, because she thinks that's it. She thinks that's her duty done. Well, you're just going to let the whole thing evaporate. Let me see. I sent her 2 texts. Pathetic. So anyway, I've given her this feedback and saying, no, she's not coming over. It's not about getting her to come. There's no transparency, and it's not about her coming over to you. You've got to put the effort in. I'm not welcome at your house. But nobody said she's not welcome, so she just makes these things up. So I just said to her, well, I wasn't going to say you are welcome. I'm not saying she's not welcome, but I'm not saying she is welcome. But I said to her, yeah, look, it's in your hands. You knock on the front door. You knock on the front door, and that's what you can do. Rather than trying to send texts, you force it. Because, you know, knocking on someone's door is socially acceptable. You're allowed to knock on somebody's door. People are still, at the minute, I hope, you know, they don't class that as trespassing. They don't class that as invading their privacy. That's what front doors are designed for, to be knocked on. You fucking idiot. That's why they've got knockers and bells. It's like talking to a child. Yeah, you might not feel comfortable coming to the back door and just, you know, the back of the house is very private, isn't it? You know, you don't want strangers just come round the back of your house. Maybe in the kitchen, half naked. You go to the front door, it's like having a conversation with a child. Anyway, I need to fast forward this. I've recorded the conversation and I'm not being very nice to her, and she starts calling us a bully. I'm a bully. I'm saying you're an abusive mother. And she accused us of gaslighting, which is exactly what I accused her of the last time. She didn't know what it meant, and I've looked it up, but she can't tell us how I'm gaslighting her. She doesn't understand what it means. She may have read what it means, but she doesn't understand it, so she can't apply it. Plus, that's not what I've been doing. So, but she's trying to say that I twist things. So I reminded her about those three things, and she's denying them and twisting. I didn't say that. I said this, and then but eventually, I got her to accept that she did say that the beacon persuaded her to move. But then she changed it, and then she said, no. But then when I say, right, so you're accepting that. When you really pin her down, right, so you're accepting that that's what you said. Then when you're pinning her down, she struggles. And then, no, she encouraged us. That's not what you said. You're gaslighting us. And then, about the whole stepdad thing, she tries to deny it, and then when you try and get her to actually talk about it, she admitted that he never wanted to live here, and that the reason that she didn't tell us the truth is because she didn't want to hurt our feelings. No, you forced him to move here against his will, and you haven't told us, because you know if you tell us that, we wouldn't have allowed it to happen. I wouldn't have let it happen. I'm not forcing somebody to live on my property. And you know what she said? She just went, when I said I wouldn't have allowed it to happen, she went, you would. It's like she's telling us what I would and wouldn't do. Total fucking sociopath. Manipulator. Telling you what your thoughts are. That's not extreme gaslighting. So anyway, she even said things like, how do you think I felt? All of his friends constantly saying he doesn't want to move, he doesn't want to move, he doesn't want to move. How do you think I felt? So it's not my problem. You wouldn't have felt bad if you hadn't have forced him to do it. You should have listened to his friends. That's what you should have done. What do you mean, how do I think? I think you're a fucking idiot. How do you think I felt? You felt guilty, didn't you? So you just buried the guilt like you always do for your own selfish ends, and you didn't tell us because you know that we wouldn't have allowed it, and that wasn't an option for you. So you lied. This is what I said to you. That's called lies by omission. You're a liar. You've lied to us to get your own way, to get out of that house and living fucking like a parasite off us. I didn't say that bit, but that's what she's done. I said you've lied by omission to manipulate your way here, and she won't accept it for what it is. And then she's trying to say she didn't want to hurt our feelings. It's like, thank you, Husk. I mean, it wouldn't have hurt me feelings. What, stepdad doesn't want to move here. He doesn't want to leave his hometown that he's lived virtually all of his life and all of his friends. He doesn't want to do that. Fair enough, it's his choice. Well, how is that going to hurt me feelings, man? She's insane. She's literally insane and delusional. And then with regards to the saying that, why is she making you treat me like this? She wouldn't admit any of it. She's totally in denial as she said that. Can't get her to admit any of that part. And then she kept calling us a bully because I'm bullying a 74-year-old woman. This is all me. So let me get this very clear. Right? you you don't grow old and relinquish your responsibilities to treat people with respect, not take the piss, and not abuse them, emotionally abuse them, and be callous and cruel. You don't relinquish those responsibilities. This is what old people think. This is why so many old people are just bitter and twisted and miserable, because all of a sudden they think they can just get away with shit, because nobody's gonna physically just give them a slap because they're old and then get away with stuff. She thinks I'm bullying her. No, I'm not. I said to her, I'm not. I'm actually standing up to a bully. You abuse and bully my wife. This is what happens when somebody's being bullied and they can't stand up for themselves. Somebody else steps in who's bigger and stronger. And by bigger and stronger, I don't mean physically. I mean mentally. I'm much. Well, it's not that I'm mentally stronger than the Husk. But as far as, and I said to her, your daughter won't stand up to you because you're her mother. I've tried to explain this to you before. Your daughter won't stand up to you because you're her mother. So I'm stepping in. I'm mirroring your behaviour. This is how you treat her. Just in a covert way. So this is what happens. I said I'm more than happy to destroy the entire relationship with you to protect my family, my wife who I love, and my family. Who else? Well, who else do you think, Husk? Your daughter? You treat everybody like this? So anyway, she was getting more and more wound up, and the truth really comes out. She said to us, you're a bully. If any man, especially a son-in-law, if any man was treating my mother like this, I don't know why she has to say her mother, if any man was treating my mother like this, I'd stick a knife in them. That's what she said to us. I'm going to take that as a threat. And I've got it recorded. I've got it recorded. You know, the sort of people who covertly threaten you, but they can claim plausible deniability. It's not what I said. I said if somebody was treating my mum like this, I'd stick a knife in them. No, but you would stick a knife in somebody that was acting in this way. That's what you've just said. Honestly, she's mental. This is what happens when you really, really challenge her. You see how... I didn't... You know, you're having an argument with somebody. I've listened to it back, and I'm not exactly totally 100% satisfied with how I handled it. But, you know, this has been bubbling under the surface for the last 3-4 weeks. Because nothing gets addressed in this dysfunctional family, and it's constantly simmering under the surface, and then it just takes an incident to bring it to a boiling point. But when I've listened to it back, the only thing that I say to her is that what her behaviours are and how they make my wife feel. That's all I ever say to her. What her behaviours are, they're abusive. Anyway, it escalated and it wasn't going anywhere. And I said to her, anyway, I'm away. You'll never ever fix this because you'll never ever fix this with your daughter because you never ever wanted her in the first place. I told her that. That's my firm belief. And then I probably overstepped the mark by saying, just like you never wanted that other daughter that you had, that other baby that you had that you murdered. And then she absolutely flew off the handle. You know, you could argue rightly so. She absolutely flew off the handle, called us a selfish bastard, and she hates us. But yeah, that's what I believe, and whether I should have said that or not, I'll contemplate that. But at the end of the day, that's how she makes her daughter feel, my wife. She makes her feel like she's not wanted, she's not good enough, and that she should be eternally grateful and she's always being tested, and it's like she never wanted it. She makes her feel like she's never wanted. This is, you judge somebody by their behaviours and how they make you feel. She makes her feel unwanted, unloved. So you tell me that I'm wrong. And as far as murdering the baby is concerned, I've covered that, and that's just what it is. That's what she did. She did that. The reasons why she did it, who knows if she's telling the truth? I don't believe her, but that's what she did, just to save her own skin. Because she never wanted it. She never wanted it. You wouldn't murder a baby that you want. So yeah, pretty hardcore, this last one. I think that's it for now. Just one last thing on the whole bullying thing, because obviously I'm not treating, obviously this, it affects you when somebody calls you a bully, and that old, you check what it is that you're doing is appropriate. So I need to put this out there. As far as bullying is concerned, right, you don't relinquish your responsibilities once you get to a certain age. That's child think. Like I say, they are children, right? And secondly, I'm not bullying and harassing you. I'm standing up to you and challenging your stupid, inappropriate, insensitive behaviour and your constant boundary pushing behaviours. And I'm not just going to let you get away with it because you're 74, right? I don't care how old you are. It's my home. You have to show mutual respect, and we give you all the respect in the world until you destroyed trust. And even when the ATM first came on the scene, we still showed you pair of years respect until we started to lose trust that you were just taking the piss. And you were, because you admitted it, right? Since then, you haven't changed behaviour. You're cruel, completely unaware, and I don't want you on my property. ATM, I don't want you on my property. That's not bullying, right? Bullying would be so bullying is picking on somebody, harassing somebody, being cruel or mean to somebody who's perceived to be weaker, not as strong. That's not why I'm doing this. But it would also be like if I saw them in the pub, then I continued this behaviour. Or if I passed them in the street and harassed them. It's not every single exchange that I've had with him of this nature and with her of this nature has been in the privacy of our own home. Now yes, you can. So she's saying I'm bullying her in her own home. But I'm not. I'm pushing back and I'm challenging your inappropriate, immoral behaviours. But this is her only defence. She should mark my words. This is how she'll be spinning it to her gossip buddies that I'm some sort of bully. She's 74. She's just trying to play on the fact that she's 74. Right, so, as I've already proven, since George, the ATM, would have had a slap by now if he was 20 years younger. Yeah, he probably would have. It's my home, right? But I don't, because he's old. I've got an unfair advantage, right? And obviously, I'm not going to Obviously, the Husk is a 74-year-old woman. I'm not trying to intimidate them. I'm trying to let them know that I'm not going to take any crap on my own property and have to deal with the consequences of their ignorance affecting my neighbours. Right? That's what I'm doing. But no, I'm bullying them. I just ignore him. I ignore the pair of them. I ignore them, let them get on with their life. As long as he's not taking the piss on my property, I just ignore him. It's only because this incident has happened. But yeah, it's like, so obviously you wouldn't physically threaten. You wouldn't physically threaten an old person. But from a mental point of view, from a words point of view, I'm just going to let them get away with it and say nothing. This is what they think, that because they're old they should be able to do what the fucking hell they want. And that, to me, that sums everything up.